Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another episode with your girl Audrey Codner from ACG Math Tutoring. Hopefully you guys are having a lovely evening. So today should be not too strenuous. So what we're going to go, and as I said last night, we're going back to the basics. So what we're hitting on is area, perimeter, unless we're doing a circle, the circumference, of 4 different types of shapes. Now, if you don't understand how to find the area and the circumference or the perimeter of these 4 types of shapes, it's going to be really hard for you to find volume. So a lot of the volume formulas always deal with the area of the base, and if we don't know how to take the area of that base, it's going to be hard for you to find what that volume measurement is going to be. So as you guys are coming in, if you guys can go ahead and start tapping, that would be lovely. But we're really going to hit on the area and perimeter of a couple of things. So let me zoom in on a couple of the formulas so we can kind of get ourselves started. So the first thing we want to really hit on is the circle. So circle basically has really 2 different formulas for the circumference. The circumference is basically looking at the outside of our shape. So if they give you the diameter, you can just basically multiply the diameter by pi. Now, sometimes they will just tell you, instead of using the actual sign of pi on the calculator, they will tell you to use 3.14. All right, so you can do that. Or if they give you the radius, you're going to 2 times the pi and the radius. Now, the radius is basically a segment from the center of the circle to a point on the circle. So it's halfway through the center of that circle. Whereas a diameter is all the way through, even through the center of the circle. So there's one point on the circle and the other point is also on the circle, but on the other side. And it goes through the center of your circle. But if I want to find the area, how much is going to be inside of that circle, I need my pi r squared. So there's no shortcut with the diameter. If you're given the diameter, you need to find the radius, which is half of your diameter. And you make sure that you're squaring it. Area, anytime you do any kind of measurements, it's squared the measurement. So it's square feet, squared yards, square inches, square centimeters, all of that is always squared. Whereas the circumference, you're basically just saying inches, feet, okay? Knowing that piece of information, if you're ever said, okay, find the circumference of the circle, take a look at your answer choices on your test. If you're taking the GED, the ASVAB, the ACCUPLACER, the TEAS test, the IBEW, anything of any kind of standardized test, even the SAT and the ACT. If you notice that your measurements are in centimeters or they're in feet and they're asking for the area, you can do the process of elimination by canceling those answers out. Because if you're looking at area, you're looking at the squared measurements. So for the rectangle, when you're looking at the rectangle, you're finding the perimeter. Basically, you're adding up all 4 of the sides. But we know that the length and the width are going to be 2 different measurements, well, 2 different lengths. But whatever's happening on one side, directly across from it is also happening, the same amount, okay? So if I'm looking at the base and I'm looking at the other base on top, hey, they should be the same measures. So if you can't remember 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, just add all 4 of the sides up, all right? Now, for the area, a lot of people are either saying length times width, or sometimes they will say base times height. The reason why they will say base times height is to carry over what's happening in the triangle. Yes, there is a connection between a rectangle and a triangle. I'm going to show you in a minute. So with the triangle, again, the perimeter, you're going to add up all the sides. But as I said, there is a slight connection between a rectangle and a triangle. If you draw any kind of rectangle and you cut it in half, just like you're cutting like a sandwich long ways, you create two triangles. So you have your base times your height, but if you divide it by 2, that's why you can get the area of a triangle. All right? All right? It's right there. Yes, you can, Courtney. Go ahead. So, yes. Hey, Jess. How are you? I'm doing. Today was a hard day, but I'm doing. Now, the last one that we're going to talk about, we in the States know as a trapezoid. Some other parts of the world knows them as trapezium, okay? Either way you mention it, the formula is still the same. You're going to add the two bases up. You're going to divide by 2, and then you're going to multiply its height, okay? So a trapezium or trapezoid, they have two bases, one at the top, one at the bottom. And it's almost like you're kind of like averaging out those bases. And then you're going to multiply by its height. Now, again, if they ask for the perimeter, just like most quadrilaterals, just add up all the sides. All right. Now, all the sides are not going to be congruent. All right. So if anything, we're probably going to have to do some kind of, finagling in order to get the measurements of the sides, unless they give it to you. All right. So these are what we're going to be working with tonight. So we're just working on area and perimeter, or if we're working with the circle, the circumference. So again, this will be definitely the live for anyone that's thinking about getting their GED, that's thinking about the ACCUPLACER, that is a homeschool student, as well as people that just need a quick refresher before they start school, which it seems like a lot of people are starting tomorrow, which is kind of exciting. All right, so let's take a gander. All right, so I'm going to be doing a lot of cutting and pasting, because sometimes every time I try to print it up, it just doesn't do what I want it to do. All right, so I'm going to try to do 2, and if I can get 3 done, that will be fabulous. Okay. So for my first circle, this is what I was telling you guys about. Here's the center of the circle, and it's connected to one point on the circle. This is called your radius. Okay. So no matter what, if it can draw here, if I drew one down here, that's going to still be the same length. Now, if I'm looking for, let's say, the circumference, since they're giving me my radius, that means I'm going to use the formula of 2 pi r. So I'm going to replace the r with this measurements, which is 62 inches. Okay. Notice it's so much easier. So now, if we were to give my exact solution, it's going to be 62 times 2. If they want the exact answer, it's actually going to be, what's that, 142? No, 144? Why am I saying 40? 124? There we go. Told you it's going to be a crazy day. 124 pi inches. Okay, not squared inches, just inches. If they want the exact measurement, you keep it in terms of pi. So if you ever see any exact and you look and you notice a lot of your answers have a pi in it, they just want you to multiply the 62 and the 2. Now, if they say they want the approximate, okay, here's my wavy gravies. So they're saying that they want that 124 and they want you to multiply it roughly by 3.14. Okay, so when they say what's the approximate answer, they want a decimal. But if they say exact, they want you to keep it in terms of pi. Okay, so sometimes you're going to have to stop and take a look to see what exactly they want. And then just like, hey Olivia, just like what Courtney says, it's 389.36 inches. Okay, not inches squared, just inches. Okay, so that is the circumference, the around, the rim. Okay, now if they want the area, area is going to be your pi r squared. Okay, so again, if they want the exact, we're going to keep it in terms of pi, but we're going to take our radius, which is 62, but this time we're going to square it. So we want to know how much is this going to cover, that space in there. So when we look at the exact 62 squared, that's nothing to frown at. So it's 3,844 pi inches. So if they want the exact, you're leaving it in terms of pi. But if they want the approximate, that means we're going to take our 3,844 and we're going to multiply it by that 3.14. Yeah, it's going to be nice and big. Okay. Oh, okay, you got the 0.16 at the end. Okay. So I was like, wait, what? How did you get 0.16? Okay. So this is going to be the approximate. And this is in squared inches, because I'm doing the area. Okay. Rover, you're always going through PTSD. All right. Okay. All right. Nicely. Thank you, Mella. Appreciate it. Okay, let's do another one. That's going to give you a diameter. If I can pick it up off the table. Okay. It's like the struggle is real. Okay. All right. Oh, yeah. I know, it booted me out. I think because my phone got hot. And then it just shut everything off. Because I was like, it's sitting here charging. I'm like, what do you mean I don't have any juice? But anywho. Okay. So now what you're seeing before you is a diameter. Okay. So if we take a quick glance, halfway is going to be your radius. All the way through the center of the circle, that's called your diameter. Let me see if I write that down for you guys. Okay, so this is going to be your diameter. Now, for us to do the circumference of this, since they gave us the diameter, that's the one thing I do like about this. Since they gave us the diameter, I don't have to take half of 56, then multiply it by 2 in order to satisfy the 2 pi r. It's already pi times my d. And the d means the diameter. So all I have to do if they ask for the exact is just have my 56 multiplied by my pi. So that gives me 56 pi, and theirs is going to be centimeters. Not centimeters squared, just centimeters, because you're not looking at how to fill this circle, you're looking at the brim of the circle, right on its edges. Okay. So why you just answered your own question? It is a chord. So a diameter is a type of chord. All right. So if they want the exact, that's your answer, 56 pi. But if they want the approximate, we're going to have to take this 56 and multiply it by roughly 3.14. GED, I can easily see that happening. Okay. So if you have your 56 times 3.14, we got our approximate of 175.84, just, not inches, centimeters. Okay. And that's all we have to do. Yep. Good, Olivia. Oh, glad you find that, E. Good. All right, so that is circumference. That's it, right? It's not too crazy. Like, once you understand the formulas, then everything else is easy peasy. So now we need to find the area. And the area of the circle doesn't change, regardless if you have a radius or a diameter. It's still going to be pi r squared. But they didn't give us an r, a radius. They gave us a diameter. So we need to write down and figure out what is going to be our radius. How would I find the radius? Yes, it's half of 56. Thank you, Courtney. It's half of 56. So what's 56 divided by 2? Yes, Rose Petal. Awesome. Yes, Kaya. 56 divided by 2. Good. What do we get for 56 divided by 2? Okay, Cyber. Hey, Cyber. How are you doing? Okay, with 28. Kaya with 28. Okay, Olivia with 28. Okay, good, guys. So, this is what you're going to plug in to your R. So, if I want to figure out my area, I got my pi. I'm taking my R, my radius, which is 28, and I'm going to square it. If they want the exact answer, you basically figure out what 28 squared is, and then you tack on the pi and its measurement. Okay, good. Okay, good job, user. All of that. So 28 squared, that gives us 784. Bring down the pi, and then bring down the measurement. Okay, so that is the exact area. But if they want the approximate, that's my wavy, we need to take that 784 and multiply it by 3.14. Because remember, we're approximating what pi is going to represent. Oops. Yep. So Courtney, I'm telling you, either you're going to use flashcards or you're just going to write and try to apply, but literally that's what you're going to have to do. Now, some exams, well, which exam are you taking? Courtney, hey coach. Yes, you have to square for the area. GRE, okay. Not sure. I think GRE will actually give you a formula sheet. It used to. I might have to take a look before I confirm that. Because years ago it used to, but that was years ago. So many things have changed. Yes, so coach, like since we already squared it and we got the 784 from it, we're basically finding the approximate. So we're changing that pi to 3.14. And then our approximation is going to be what? 2,461.76. And this is my squared centimeters. Okay, so this is my squared centimeters. Good, user. All right, yep. So area, you always square your units. Circumference or perimeter, we do not. Okay, so that could be something vital if you're given a multiple choice question and they're asking for the area and you see like 3 out of the 4 are talking about, like inches, but area has squared inches, do the process of elimination. Okay. All right. Okay, I got a whole thing, Diamond. Okay, so I'm going through my little phrase that I have over here. Okay, so next one, we got rectangles, and I'm also going to throw in a couple of squares, or one square. Okay, so continue to tap while I set this up. And thank you for your patience as I'm putting a lot of these things up here. Oops. Okay, almost there. Thank you so much, guys, for the follow. Appreciate it. And then before I get to these, let me just tell you, for some of you guys, maybe you're at a different time zone and you're like, you know what? I gotta go to bed. Totally get it. So if anything, sometimes you guys can go here. Okay, if you go here and type in this or my name, you'll actually see a playlist that says TikTok Lives. Okay, so I put all my recordings here. So it usually takes, like, I don't know why it takes so long for it to upload, but it does. And sometimes it will take me like either tomorrow morning or it could be the next afternoon. I don't know why it takes so long, but here we are. But I would love for you guys to do these things. I want you to do this, do this, do this, definitely do this, and do that, okay? So all of my lives from February the 2nd is all there, okay? That's how long I've been going live here on TikTok on a consistent basis, okay? So that gives you that. And if you subscribe, it's a free subscription, okay? Go ahead. I'm not bougie yet, but you never know. It's coming soon, so might as well take advantage now before everything goes tits up. Okay. So now we're going to look at rectangles. Rectangles and squares. So for my rectangle, what we know is we have two sides that are of equal length and another side and another set of sides that are equal length. So in this case, this is saying this is 2 centimeters. Guess what? Over here is also 2 centimeters. They're saying up here is 8 centimeters. Guess what? Down here is 8 centimeters. If you want to find the perimeter, okay, per rim, you can do one of two things. You can multiply 2 times your length plus 2 times your width, or you can simply just add up all the sides. That's all it is. So if we have 2 times our 8 plus 2 times our 2, and most of the time when they use this formula, a lot of people are just like, all right, which one's length and which one's width? And you're sitting here losing your mind trying to figure out which one's length and width. Guys, when you take these tests, they just want to know, did you click the right box? Did you basically, is it A, B, C, D, and some people have E's as an extra option. All right, so if you can't remember the formula, just remember per rim, rim, R-I-M, okay? Add up all the sides. So here we have 16 plus 4. 16 plus 4 gives me 20. So 20, and don't forget my units, 20 centimeters. You can do 2 times the length plus width. You can do that as well. Okay, you're going to get the same answer. Now, if I want to find the area, okay, you can either say it's length times width, or I've seen people use base times height because they want to carry that theme over to when we do triangles. So all you're doing is just taking those two numbers that they gave us and multiplying. That's it. So you have your 8 times your 2. 8 times 2, that gives you 16. But since we're finding the area, it's squared centimeters. Okay? That's it. What if there's no width? Well, that's probably telling you it's a square. So that's where we're going over here. Okay. How can I tell that this is going to be a square? Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit more. Notice they have these little tick marks. These tick marks are helping you with congruency. Okay? This is saying that all four sides are of equal length. So if I want to find the perimeter, I could do the formula. Let me unzoom a little bit. I could do the formula for perimeter, which I didn't write up there, which is 4 times the side. And they're giving us the side to be 3. And you're probably saying to yourself, well, why is it 3? Why is it 4 times the side? Because you have 4 sides that are congruent. So whatever this side is same length for this side, same for this side, same for that side. So instead of running around doing 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, okay, 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 and 6 is 12, they just have you multiplied 4 times the side. Okay, so again, if you can't remember the formula, at least remember, just add up the sides when it comes to perimeter. This is centimeters. Okay. All right. So all sides are equal. Good. So now, if they're coming up with area, you can still either say base times height, or you can do with the side squared. Okay, you're probably like, say what? Okay, so base times height. All 4 of the sides are going to be exactly the same. So my base will be 3. My height, that's going to also be 3. So last time I checked, 3 times 3, that gives me a 9. All right. Exactly. 9 square centimeters. I was just thinking of cubic for some reason. Now, this whole thing with the side squared, if one side is 3, and if I square that, remember 3 squared is the same as saying 3 times 3. And 3 times 3 gives me 9. So you have your 9 centimeters squared. Okay. So if you can't remember the side square, you can easily remember your base times height. Base times height or length times width doesn't matter. Just multiply those 2 sides. Okay, one's your length, one's your width. Okay, questions so far? Okay. No one has any questions? Or do you have a question you're not sure how to ask it? Sometimes that happens. You're like, I don't know where this came from. Go ahead and ask it. No, you got it? Awesome. Okay. All right, now diamond. We're getting to the triangle. Okay, while I'm setting this up, if you guys can continue to tap, I would greatly appreciate it. We're trying to push this out to as many people as we can possible. I know there is a lot of people that are either taking their GED, taking a placement test, or maybe just getting themselves ready for the new school year. because it's right around the corner. For some people, I know in Puerto Rico, it's tomorrow. So, no, it was today. Today was Thursday. Yep. So their school started today. Yep, your girl's international. Not really. I know it's Puerto Rico's an American thing. I got it. Well, I don't just tutor people just in Maryland. So if you want to know, just ask. If you know you're going to be starting a college course and you're like, man, I haven't seen math since I was in high school, it's been a minute, okay? So if you need someone to kind of help, maybe even translate what the teacher is saying, just let me know. All right. Yes, thank you, period. Thank you, everyone that's been tapping and sending gifts and everything. I greatly appreciate that. All right, so now we're trying to find the perimeter of this triangle. Now, there's no fancy formula. If it's a perimeter, you're basically adding all the sides. Okay, so 10 plus 10 gives me 20, plus 6, that gives me 26 centimeters. Not centimeters square, just centimeters. All we did was add up all our sides. So it was like the 10 plus the 10 plus the 6. Oh, sorry, not centimeters. That was from last time. Meters. All right. So now we want our area. So as I mentioned it before, okay, a triangle is basically your base times height, which you will get in a rectangle, divided by 2. Okay, that's how we're finding the area. Now, you're probably saying, all right, well, what's my base? What's my height? Am I using the slant height? Am I using a regular height? So all we're doing is we're using, so this 6 meters is supposed to be for the whole thing. So all we're doing is we're taking our base, which is 6 meters, taking our height. I'm not talking about the slant height. I'm talking about the actual height. So that's going to be at 8 meters. And we're going to divide it by 2. Now, you can take this one of two ways. You can either multiply 6 into 8, get 48, and divide by 2. Or you can use the 8 divided by 2, which I kind of like to do, which gives me 4. Okay, so we no longer have anything in the denominator, and then we just multiply 6 times 4, which gives me 24 squared meters. Okay. Okay. All right, I see you, Olivia. Yep. So we're not talking about the slant height. We're talking about the actual height of our triangle. Okay. No problem. Mm-hmm. We like to divide that and then multiply by 8. Okay, that works. You get the same thing. It's going to be 3 times 8, which gives me 24. Now, where did my other... Get a little bit of room here. Now again, if you have questions, this is the place to ask them. Math questions. Okay. All right, so here's our new triangle. Can you see the triangle again? Sure. Just using soap. Plus, I was just doing dishes not too long ago, so it's probably just that. No worries. Because I hate using lotion. I am like the anti-girl. I'm the girl that's usually the ashiest during the winter. Just straight ashy. I hate the feel of lotion. I hate it. All right. Oh, I know. I know. I'm sorry, but it's true. I can't stand. I think it's because when I was a kid, my mom used to do the pink Johnson & Johnson lotions. She like smothered me in that. If not that cocoa butter, can't wear that. If I smell cocoa butter, I'm like nauseous. My God, I don't know. The trials and tribulations of Audrey Codner. Welcome to my world. You thought you knew everything, and then all of a sudden, here comes another piece of the Audrey puzzle. All right. So, again, we are looking at the perimeter. So, they give you a triangle. They say, find the perimeter. All you're basically doing is taking your 8, your 12, and your 5. You're not doing anything with that 6. Okay? Because we're not trying to find the perimeter of this little triangle. We're trying to find the perimeter of this whole thing. Okay? So you got your 8 plus 12. That gives you your 20. Plus 5 will give you your 25 centimeters. Okay, so 25 centimeters. There we go. Awesome. So now, let's get with our area. So again, the area is your base times height divided by 2. So in this case, my base, and I want to say, when I looked at this problem, I want to say my whole entire base, I think just for S and giggles, this whole thing will be 12. Sometimes they might put like an X value here if they're just saying from here to here is 12. But I think for right now, for my mentality, let's just say this whole thing is 12. Okay? It's probably not, but for right now, I just need simplicity. Because remember, we're going back to the basics. We're not trying to get too technical here. So if that whole thing is 12, that's my base. What's my height? What will be my height? I get 36s and 30s. Okay, addicted to success 5, quad 5, gen 5, coach 5, user, all of that 5. Okay, Libby saying 6, Vicky 6, Ma 5, period 5. Okay, now your height always goes straight up and down. Okay, height of your triangle is never on a slant. Hardly ever. Okay, if they just give you this slant and say they didn't give us this side, then yes, we're probably going to have to do Pythagorean theorem to find our height. Okay, if we were just looking at this small triangle, say like from here to here was 12, and they want us to find this little piece, we would have to use Pythagorean theorem to find that little piece right there. But right now, for and giggles, we're just going to say this whole thing is 12, and this whole thing is your height, which is 5. And we're going to divide by 2. And you're probably saying, well, Audrey, we didn't do anything with the 6. Exactly. Unless they specify from this point to this point is 12, and we had to find Pythagorean theorem to find that, we can take it to that extent. But I'm going to tell you, GED, they're not going to get that deep. Okay, they're really not going to get that deep. All right, so now, raise it up a little bit. So I could multiply the 12 and the 5, get 60, and then divide it by 2 to get 30. Or I can just simplify the 12 and the 2. This will give me a 6, and this will give me a 1. And then my area will be 6 times 5, which gives me 30. And we're looking at my squared centimeters. Okay. All right, how are we doing? Okay, good. Don't forget the squares, guys, please. Because anytime you're dealing with area, you're using squared units. Okay? Because you can also use that information when you're looking at the multiple choice and see which one is just giving you centimeters when it should be giving you squared centimeters. And then you can process elimination. All right. Then my algebra class. See, here's my thing. I still have a belief that some people have an active geometric brain versus an algebra brain. I'm actually, well, last year I was tutoring. One of my students is exactly that. Algebra, it just doesn't click. And I mean, we'll practice, and it'll click a little bit, just enough for him to be successful. But when he did geometry last year, oh my God, it was like blowing up. And plus he had a really good teacher as well. I really liked this teacher. So it just, I truly believe that some people are really good at visualization, because geometry, you can actually see it. It's tangible. You know what a ladder looks like. You know what a wall looks like. You can figure out what angle measurements look like. You know what a ship looks like. You know, there's certain things that seems to go well. Yep. Until you took chemistry. Yep. Okay, exact same thing happened to you? Yes. Yes, you do. You have neither algebra or geometry brain. Yes, you do. John. What does H and B means? H is your height, B is your base. Oh, thanks, Eve, for answering that. Both stress you. I think the reason why it stresses you is because you didn't have a good introduction to it. It's just a matter like, here, memorize the formula, use it. But what are the clues? Why should I use this formula as opposed to that formula? And you probably didn't have anyone that broke it down. So then if you wanted to ask questions, you didn't, because you didn't want to be that guy or that girl that, you know, we're all trying to go out to recess and you're like, well, I still got a question. Please, you will be chastised at the playground, because kids are just cruel. And that hasn't changed. Oops. So I geometry, I failed it when I was in high school. Okay. Is this geometry? Yes, it is. Please, is this GED questions? Yeah. Anytime they ask for area or perimeter, this is what you're doing. Can't get any basic than this. And like my whole thing is like, don't let these word problems throw you off. If they're asking for area, boom, you know what the formula for area is. Okay. Yes, I do go live every day. Tomorrow, it'll be a little earlier though. I used to go on at 1 o'clock, but I have a client during that time now. So I might be switching back to that time because school's starting back up. So I'm still coming in the tail end of my summer schedule versus my fall schedule because schools are starting to open back up. But tomorrow I'm thinking I might be on like either between 5 or 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. Because I definitely want to hit the sack a little early. And I got some early morning clients on Saturday. All the questions the teacher told us, if you don't get it by the second, it's too bad. I'm sorry. See, that's why. That's why you don't like it. That's why you don't like it. Because my whole thing is, and I understand sometimes with teacher frustration, because when you're up in front of the class and you're trying to teach and everybody wants to be a clown instead, yeah, sometimes you have to come up with an attitude like that. But that doesn't help anybody. It's called control your damn class. Oh man, there's so many times I would have to go into someone else's classroom to control the class. I'm just like, that's the worst thing that anyone could ever do, because now I stole your power. So now the kids are not going to want to do anything until they see me. Not a good thing. Not a good thing. Yep, control the class. Do I tutor online? Yes, I do. Okay. And if you do need the assistance, please reach out. Don't wait until the 11th hour. Because as I said, I have right now, if everyone comes back, I had only a few people graduate this year. So if everyone comes back, that's a good 24 students. And I gained a good 4 new students this summer. And one's a homeschool, so I'm definitely going to have that. Another one's going to be basically another couple of years as well. So do not wait until the last minute. Make sure you reach out. All right. Parents have to, oh yeah. Oh, coach, trust me. I know. I get it. And especially nowadays where people, you can see grades nowadays. So there's no excuse. I can't stand when there was a parent-teacher conferences and they're like, I never knew he was failing. Really? Like nowadays, you can get it attached to your phone. An alert will go off if your kid is falling below a certain grade point level. So unless you're just ignoring it, I don't know what to tell you. So I shouldn't have to call your house and give you one-on-one attention. All right. So, right here, we have a trapezoid or trapezium, okay? You have 2 different bases. I like to call this one up here base 1, and this one down here base 2. Okay? And this here is going to be your height. All right, but, and this is when it gets crazy. Normally, I grabbed the wrong ones. Never mind. We're not doing perimeter because we don't have the other sides. And I'm going to be truthful, my mental capacity is definitely not there. So we're going to have a funky little A to talk about area. So you have your base 1 plus your base 2 divided by 2. Oh, that seems familiar. But we're going to multiply by your height. Okay. Oh, academic probation. Oh, I know. Yeah, you were wondering? Yes, so was I. As soon as I looked at it, I was like, wait, what? What am I doing? Yeah, they need to bring truancy back. Actually, it shouldn't even be the parents' fault. Well, there's a combination, yes. But I feel for the parents that have to go to work before their kids. Like, they have to be at work at 6 o'clock. The kids can't go to school early because either no one's at the building or they're not letting the kids inside until half an hour before school is supposed to officially start. So, then the kids have to find their way to school. And it's just a mess. It's a mess. But there are so many kids that take advantage of it, especially in my little neck of the woods. So, my base 1 is 4. My base 2 is 5. If we want to divide by 2 and multiply by the height, which is 4. So again, you could... Now, you can't divide here. You need to combine this. So 4 plus 5, that will give us our 9. So you have 9 halves times 4. If you don't want to work with larger numbers, you can simplify that 4 in this 2. That 2 will be a 1. 4 divided by 2, that will give me 2. And then what's left over is 9 times 2, which is 18. Now this is area, so it'll be 18 squared centimeters. Okay. Sure, Courtney, I can do that for you. And I lost you? Where did I lose you? You told me, Ken? 18 is the answer? Yes. But don't forget the measures. So good job, Ken. See? I told you! Good job. But just whatever you do, do not forget the units of measures. They will take, yeah. Okay, 4 into 2 and 2 into 1. Okay. So, you could... Once you did your 4 plus 5 to get my 9, you could multiply the 9 times 4 to get 36, and then take half of 36, which is 18. Or you can cross simplify. So that means if I take my 4 and I divide it by 2, 4 divided by 2 gives me 2. And then I take this whole number of 2 and multiply it by this 9. So 2 times 9 will give me 18. Okay. Oh, you're so welcome, Ty. Multiply by 4. Yep, you can still do that to get your 18. I think a lot of people just generally don't feel super comfortable with fractions, but you will get the same answer if you do it that way. All right, so let me show you the previous one, Courtney, before I get to our last one. Hey, Danny, how are you? You can do 4.5 times 4. Yes, Olivia. Well, it's whatever the units measure. So if it's inches, it's always going to be squared inches. Yes. It's always going to be squared for area. Perimeter is just whatever the measure is. So if it's inches, it's going to be inches. If it's, centimeters, it's centimeters. If it's meters, it's meters. But if you do area, it's going to be squared meters. it's going to be squared inches. It's going to be squared feet. Okay, cool. All right. Okay. See, isn't it nice? Someone you can ask questions and you're like, oh, okay, it's not that bad. It's kind of nice and pleasant. All right, so again, we're just finding area. I don't think I can do that funky A anymore, but we'll do it this way. So it gives me the sum of my bases divided by 2 times the H. Okay. What are my bases? Let's fill it in. Okay, good job, Rare. Awesome. No? We all learn differently, Rare. We all learn differently. And there is nothing wrong with that. Okay, so we got our 6 and our 8. Good. So we have our 6 plus our 8 divided by 2. And our height is going to be 5. So I won't be able to simplify right here with the 5 and the 2. I could with a decimal point. I could. But if I want to, I can do 6 plus 8, which gives me 14. Okay. So when I do that, I got 14 divided by 2 here. So that might help us out a little bit with the 7 times 5. And 7 times 5 gives me 35, and we're working with squared centimeters. Okay. Reason why I like to reduce is because, remember, when you take the GED, the ASVAB, parts of the SAT, parts of the ACT, you can't use a calculator. So there's a calculator for the SAT and the ACT, there's a calculator section. I actually know someone that did the IBEW, who had documentation about his learning disability. So he was allowed to use his calculator and was given extra time. I was like, ooh, okay, I haven't heard that one before. But there are some people, they have made some changes to their rules since COVID. So. Okay. No problem. No problem. Okay. But the second part there is, yeah. But with that calculator that comes on the system. Yeah, I know, right? On this test, which test? Which one? GED, ACCUPLACER, T's test. T's test, I don't know off the top of my head. Okay, is that Desmos? It grows it right away. I know. The SATs, now you can do the digital SATs and you can use access to Desmos. Regents used to allow using Desmos and they stopped that for this year. So I know some kids are going to be taking the Regents again Tuesday. That's out of New York. Tuesday for Algebra 1. And they pulled it. They just say no more Desmos. So, I know, I feel you. I mean, once you've been using one way for such a long time, you get used to that. Oh, hey, JB. All math sections of the ASVAB, yes, I do. So far, I have a pretty decent success rate. My whole thing is, and this is what I have to make clear, especially for people that are taking the ASVAB, Just because you're getting assistance does not mean that you automatically going to raise your score. Same thing with the GED. Okay, anybody that's like college algebra as well. I'm not saying that I'm not good at what I do. I'm really good at what I do, and I know how to break concepts down. But that doesn't mean that you stop doing extra work for you to help with your understanding. No. And I actually put it in my terms and conditions. Just because you hired a tutor doesn't mean that you stop doing extra work. Doesn't mean that you don't look through your notes. Doesn't mean that you still try to find a way to study. Doesn't mean that. Okay? It means that you have someone that you're going to see maybe once, maybe twice a week to help guide you and to break down concepts so you can be successful. And plus I don't teach programs really. Like during the school year? No. Because I feel like, why should I have you learn a program during the school year when you got your own schoolwork to do? If you're struggling to do your own schoolwork, why am I giving you more homework? Doesn't make any sense. To me, it just doesn't. Okay. College algebra, awesome. Yep. Good. No, they're pulling it. They're pulling it. They just got clearance about it a couple days ago. Yeah, because I've been tutoring this young lady on her Regents, and she's doing the retake, and they're saying they're not allowing the kids to use Desmos. Like when I say recent, what's today? Thursday? This was on Tuesday. Yeah, that's when I have more kids. Yep, on Tuesday. That's when she told me. Well, not a problem. I know, right? Oh, not a problem, Olivia. I appreciate you. Okay. Yep. So that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes when you guys ask like, oh, can I use this? And oh, can I use that? I'm like, I got to check because people have been making changes. And you got to remember, there's a lot of changes in education this past summer. There was a lot, like literally, I can tell you for Baltimore, they basically uprooted so much. A lot of the after school programs are done. A lot of the things for some GED courses done. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff changes. So that's why I'm like, look, I need to double check before I can say, yeah, this is what's happening. Because a couple things changed, like even last week. So just to keep at it. Desmos, it's an S instead of a Z. Desmos is like an online calculator that's free. It kind of tries to replicate the TI-83 or just trying to replicate any kind of TI. And it's a free app. You can put it on your phone. You can put it in the classroom. So for those, especially for students that just can't afford, or schools that can't afford class set of calculators, they use the Desmos so they can do, whatever they need to do. So that's what happens. And last time I checked, it's free. Okay? You shouldn't pay for anything. Is a money grab? Yep. Better learn everything they can while they still can. Yep. It's the best calculator ever. Okay. Sure. Yeah, and there's certain things, like if anything, if you are thinking about introducing yourself to Desmos, there are a lot of tutorials on YT. You know what I'm talking about. This thing, okay? There's a lot of tutorials that will actually break some of those concepts down. And just like how to obviously break down how to use it. Yeah, I will not be doing that on this app, okay? Yeah, that's one thing I can't do. Well, it's not like I can't do. There's certain things I can do on it, but I will not say that I'm an expert. Not yet. Yep. Okay. You do it on this app? Okay, cool. All right. So here's my shameless plug. So if you like the way that I structure my notes here, this is actually my recent math notebook. This one is designed for pre-algebra to algebra 1. The reason why is not just because of the spacing, because the spacing like this is for all of my books, but if anything, it's the resources that I have in the very back of the book. So I tried to have a factor sheet, so a factor chart from 1 to 200. Also, you have online, all the words, operation terminology, all the words that are connected to certain operations to help you with word problems. This is what I added for this version. I have my squares, my square roots, my cube, and my cube roots. So you can go through it and it'll take you all the way to 15. Then we have our rules of integers. Then we have inequalities, the interval notation, order of operations here in the States or international, properties of exponents, linear and quadratic equations and some of their forms, and also how to find the discriminant. Then we have a little bit of fraction operations, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. Then we have the decimal operations, same thing, adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Put it in a nice little fun, bright way so you can find things so much quicker. Place values, also the conversion from percent to decimals, decimals to percent, decimals to fractions, all of that with a little bit of examples for you to follow through. Then we have arithmetic and geometric sequence, trying to keep it all together as best I can. This book doesn't have every single solitary thing. It just has a good chunk of it, because if I try to put every single thing in there, you're probably going to be paying $50 for a book. Seriously? You're not doing that. So with our distance, our speed, and our time, cover up what you're looking for. You're looking for speed, that means you know you got distance divided by time. You're looking for distance, that means it's going to be your speed times your time. And if you're looking for time, you got your distance divided by speed. Then you have the measures of central tendency, which is the only 3, mean, median, mode. And then the measures of variation that we're going to be actually using is going to be our range. Then graph and linear inequalities, system of equations. So you see all these formulas. Okay, Pythagorean's theorem. Okay, this looks familiar. All right, we have our area, we have our perimeter. All of this readily available. Okay. So, and also a conversion chart. Okay, most use conversions, especially down here. Lots with the volume, and there are sometimes there's inches and feet, maybe a yard. Okay. So, if you like to order your notebook, you can. If you just want my notes that I do on TikTok, I have something called Audrey's Notes. And with Audrey's Notes, you're actually getting a color copy of the notes that I do here on TikTok. So all you have to do, if you notice, there's a QR code. If you scan that QR code, it will take you directly to the live that's associated with this page. So for matrix multiplication, you scan this and you basically can follow along how I broke all this stuff down. Okay. So that is Audrey's Notes. We're working on book number 5 because we just finished it. And then also that's new is my lefty edition. So all my lefties, okay, this is again the pre-algebra, algebra 1. So you get the same sheets that I do, but notice how we're opening it, okay? Still get the same beginnings, still getting the same resources, okay? But the only thing is, I just designed it for you lefties so you don't have to come across and feel a little uncomfortable. I want you comfortable as anything else doing this, okay? All right, cool. All right, so where can you get this lovely books? You can go directly to, whoops, that's a little too much. You can go directly here to my bookstore, okay? So I'm also working on the math workbooks. It's going to be a series to help. You know, sometimes, I do a live session, and I'm exhausted right now. All of a sudden, I just got really tired. I don't mind. I really like meeting people and working with them one-to-one, but sometimes that foundational work is missing. So if I can develop a workbook with interactive answer keys, none of this, well, the answer is 34 because the blah, 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 and you don't understand what's going on, but you're just like, all right, did I get 34 right? No? Okay, I wish I knew how to solve this. Right? But you can also go here if you want any private tutoring. Please, people, when you reach out, tell me what you want. Okay? Don't just send like someone sent me a message and it said father's name's deceased. And it was just like taking a mick at the fact that, you know, my father's anniversary of his death is like next Wednesday. So I wasn't very appreciative of that. That kind of broke my spirit just a moment. But I was like, look, there's tons of other people here that need me. So tell that person to kick rocks, you know, next time you see them. But, they have a lot of time on their hands. So if you are in need of a course, if you're in need of books, if you're just in need, okay, don't sit there and say, I can't do this. Shut up. You can. You just got to change that mindset. You got to be the person that believes. I can believe in you all day, every day, day and night. But if you don't believe in yourself, that you want to make a change, it's pointless. It's pointless what I think. It doesn't matter what I think. It's completely on what you think and what you want to achieve and what is your goal. Because I know a lot of you guys want to get a better job, but sometimes it's got to be a little bit more than that. It's got to be more than just wanting a better job. Okay? Really go after it because you want to go after it, not because your mom, not because your grandma. Oh, I made a promise to my mom. We've all made promises to our parents because we cannot keep living the way that they used to live. Times have changed. And if you notice, a lot of them can't even keep up with half the stuff that we got to do. Text messaging. Why is that so hard? Why is it so difficult? Okay. All right. Yes, Jess, I am. I'm worth every dollar. We're not doing pennies anymore. Okay. Yeah. I appreciate that. Okay. All right. So if you guys need me, please do not hesitate. Send me a message. I'm going to wrap this live up. I know it's a little early, but I need some sleep. I need some sleep. So it might be coming up sometime tomorrow morning, in order for this to download. But then I will see you sometime tomorrow afternoon or late or early evening. So it might be like around 7 p.m., 5 or 7 p.m., depending if that other person wants to come in. But I will definitely put a note in either my stories or somewhere so you guys have a good idea when. All right? Yes, I'm going to try. Okay. So, how often are you tutoring? How often am I tutoring? I tutor 7 days a week. 7 days a week. It's ridiculous. But that's what I do. because I have like student athletes, I have actors and actresses, I have models, I have like one-dimensional students, I have three-dimensional students. So if so, definitely go here, and that's in my bio, but go here and just fill out the contact form. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. Thank you so much for joining in. I love you guys. Have a great night. Get some rest. Love you. Bye.